The paper trembled in my hands. It was thick, heavy with unspoken words. The writing on the envelope was my father's, familiar yet distant, like a memory from a dream. Not since the last, bitter encounter with him. Now he was gone, and this letter was all that remained.
David hesitated. He wasn't sure he was ready to face the past. With a deep breath, David finally opened the letter.
The words blurred at first. They spoke of regret, of love unspoken. I read on, each sentence pulling me deeper into the past. The hospital room had been cold, sterile, the air thick with unspoken tension. I remembered the smell of antiseptic, the hum of machines, and my father, lying in the bed, frail, his face etched with pain. It was the first time I had seen him like that, vulnerable.
They hadn't spoken much in the years leading up to that day. Their relationship had been strained, marked by misunderstandings and unspoken resentments. David had always felt like a disappointment to his father. He had chosen a different path, one that his father didn't understand. And in his youth, David had been too proud, too stubborn to bridge the gap.
I remembered the harsh words exchanged that day, each syllable like a shard of glass, cutting through the fragile threads that still bound us. I had been angry at his disapproval, at his inability to accept me for who I was. I left that day without saying goodbye, without knowing it would be the last time I saw him alive.
His father's words in the letter were like a balm on his soul. Words of apology, of regret for past mistakes. They spoke of a father's love, unwavering despite their differences. The letter revealed a side of his father that David had never seen.
"My son," the letter began, the handwriting shaky yet familiar. "If fate allows this letter to reach you, it means I am no longer there to tell you in person how much you mean to me." Each word resonated with a depth of emotion that I had never allowed myself to acknowledge.
"I know I wasn't always the best father," the letter continued. "I pushed you hard, held you to standards that were perhaps unfair. I was so focused on molding you in my image that I failed to see the remarkable man you had become." David's vision blurred as he read, tears blurring the ink on the page. The letter was a revelation. It painted a picture of a man tormented by regret, a man who loved his son deeply but didn't know how to express it.
I realized with a jolt that I had been so focused on my father's disapproval that I had never stopped to consider the pain he carried.
"I know I made mistakes," his father wrote, "but know this, my son, you were always my pride and joy."
I could almost hear his voice in those words, not the gruff, critical tone I had grown accustomed to, but a voice filled with love and longing.
The letter ended with a plea for forgiveness. "If you can find it in your heart, son, forgive me. Know that you were loved deeply and unconditionally."
I felt a weight lift from my chest, replaced by a profound sense of loss and regret.
David reread the letter, each time uncovering new layers of meaning. He realized that forgiveness wasn't just about his father, it was about him letting go of the anger and resentment he had held on to for so long. It was about making peace with the past and embracing the love that had always been there, buried beneath layers of unspoken words.
As I folded the letter, a sense of peace washed over me. I couldn't bring my father back, but I could honor his memory by living a life filled with love and forgiveness, by cherishing my loved ones and never letting pride or misunderstanding stand in the way.
The letter was a reminder that life is too short for regrets, that sometimes the most important words are the ones left unsaid.
And in that moment, I knew what I had to do.